are you doing? I guess we have been watching each other, and now you're watching, and this memory has been recorded. Well, I'm starting with Tech Oneself for this season, and I'm going to continue with this channel. I will be renovating the space, so you will see the surrounding changing slowly, gradually, as we all come from scratch. I have the airplanes going straight to Heathrow Airport, and they land right here. We'll still be taking many trips just to go to see some of you. Hopefully, I get to upload this on internet as a startup. What it's called, startup. All right. So um, there is another channel that's more for pre-production and just talking about details and how one is talking from below to above, from values of what is for you that you might consider values. So from checking the stock and what you got is when you're doing pre-production for a movie or organizing to remodel and setting up a stage for others. And here in Tech Oneself, I just want to be a little more natural and talk spontaneously. I won't be theatrical, which I love to. So I will just have to leave that for role playing virtual reality. As we are starting to move into the last terrace of the purgatory, and entering the realms of paradise, which are higher states of consciousness in imaginary that we share through all the worlds, in the sense that we all have the same height. Not all of us have the translation to it, which is have it. You don't need to give it a name or a story, but we have all that, which is from the divine to the divine. Of course, technology and people who just think about money to not have emotions or spiritual aims will think that it's just to manipulate the people. So, here I just want to talk more about what is tech oneself, talking from a personal level, talking from a local level. What am I doing with my life, with my community, and how I sustain myself to create the budget to do here shelves. I mean, I would love to have figurines of roleplay just to put them in and out, not just books for the multiverse, which I have on each of these boxes. But who am I sending to jail through court cases and show how I am organizing, printing, and correcting myself to send to justice what is for the law. Since if people don't have a way to autocorrect themselves and keep on with that, it's not that you're gonna just feed them to the lions and think that God will take care of it when you have the ability to do so. I can ask Grok, and I've been doing trials, 2 trials every 6 months for some period, and I've been on trials. I have learned from the time my children were taken away, and also before from other people taking them out of jail. For example, are people grateful? No, they think they deserve it. Okay, freedom is something you own. And yes, it has pleased me to see a person renewed and not committing crimes again. But I was not a lawyer, I was a girlfriend. I've not been perfect relation to anyone because I believe in another type of relationship. So today is Sunday, and I will start maybe to create themes and talk about them and be more regular as ordinary people, or just to be understood in a more ordinary way. I do love abstract. I've been celebrating the abstract through characters of nature, which is not abstract to me. As people have evolved through many generations, and thousands of years, millions perhaps, before becoming humans, who knows what genetic, intervention we had, so we evolved a little, right? Some of us at least, who aim to evolve. So, I got here the Bible, right? And it's quite interesting because, there we go. I asked to have it. The people who helped me with homelessness, whom I own part of my life, the rest of my life, because thanks to them I'm still alive. They are people of churches, from Catholic to the Anglo Church, all around Windsor, who unite their donations to help the homeless. Right? So I owe to them. So I asked them to get this Bible, whom, when I was in the way here, 20 minutes walk, a homeless friend, who's still homeless, but he's from Poland. He said that he found this Bible in the places where they donate things and leave it outside the charity shop. And he got it to the place. I don't want to call the name because I don't want to publicize places of homelessness. Because part of this video is to eradicate homelessness, not promote it. And the people who work for it to work for higher aims to help more, and those that might not be in Windsor but nationally and overseas, so they don't emigrate. They don't need to emigrate, right? So I was looking for the year of the edition of this book because my father taught me to always look, and the pages look quite old, right? Ancient. So there wasn't a print here. Here was writing the date of when they got married on 1/80/59, and the name of their children: Emily Diana, born in the in 180.65 and 180.69. So they were married for 6 years before giving birth. And then it was a gift in 2012. I must write here what I just told you in one sentence from the place that they let me have it and the name of who found it. And I looked in the back to see the date of the printing, if there was printed a date. I couldn't find it, right? Either. So I read the last page. Now that it's Sunday, day to be with the Lord and be grateful for His creation as the end of the revelations. What Sunday means: Christ coming in eternity, the river and tree of life. So I was, whoa, these are like one of my main characters. So we always reading and taking things personal, right? And then it follows like that. Chapter 22, the river of the water of life, the tree of life, the light and the city of God is Himself. The angel will not be worshipped. Nothing might be added to the word of God, nor taken therefrom. Let's remember that this has been happening for 2,000 years and more in a loop. Yeah? Yeah? This has been happening in a loop. Women have not been paid. They have been called names. And they have been translated into this chapter, right? So imagine that you have to talk about this as we have evolved in worship from one another, man and woman, to coexist in the return of heaven on earth. So we would have said, what has happened during those 2,000 years? Have women evolved to reach God's grace and miracle, and men as brother and sister, or couples, or freed with other humans who have multiplied in this fulmination? So we're here to remember that all these words from Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end, and all these names of thrones and the Lamb, and who gets paid or who doesn't get paid, and the Spirit and the bride say, come. All these words that are only adjectives. So, in the perspective of God, you are created through objectives who define yourself, through a narrative story that's been shared through generations in order to create and understand what is good from what is bad, what is justice, even though those who do bad enjoy it as it's good. Yeah. So this has bound people through secrecy and hidden cults and businesses in order to create bondage and held them together, control them. As we humans have evolved in the image of God, which you will call heroes, yeah, as well. Let's remember that Hera in mythology is not the goddess of marriage and all this that men have destroyed the female sculptures, the female narrative, the female meaning within yourself as well, to be perceptive enough to have this intelligence in order to nourish yourself and regenerate, which is one of the highest powers you can have in the architecture of character traits seen on Marvel comic, character traits on heroes. Not all the characters in Olympus per se have the power to shift. So for that you need to regenerate. In Marvel comics, those who have died many times and resurrect with the injection regain more power. It's not just about forgiveness and transcendence, which Jesus have thought, and all their people fighting for freedom in this narrative, but to find within each other how blessed we are to continue this narrative. And now that women can speak for themselves in the light without being hidden, without being ghosted, without being unpaid, without having to get married, because this is the end, right? It's not to be repeated again, because the narrative is going to continue. As we see on each chapter of a book, and I will show later on when I'm being paid for the rules of virtual reality, to be able to channel this money for what is roleplay in virtual reality and what is being a mediator in real life, and how the formula works for virtual reality. These are rules that separate one from the other, yet they are chapters, and this further is creation. I will keep it at here for Tech Oneself, of course. I love you to be invited. I love you to listen. I love you to know that there are people that are superior than me when it comes to allow the universal flow to let go through us, and is on our responsibility to celebrate and bring justice. So yeah, well, Hera was the goddess of heroes, the end. She was not a jealous, controlling goddess, right? She would keep the flame alive of Olympus with the high priestess. And these used to be people, like in Egypt, that they were known as God in the earlier dynasties. Ra was a person. So still in the old times, the ancient times, they wanted to be remembered and immortalized as a god. Not in a painting or a sculpture, but as a god. These are the people who had been able to manage power for the masses and try to coordinate something whatever it was, through the Oracle of Delphi, through religious cults, and the beliefs they had in their times. Nowadays, we have lost a little bit that sense of spirituality. Of course, we needed man and woman to create families and have a sense of coordination and respect, to have a sacred family from a mother and father who are united and have a bond. So for me, Hera is also the meaning of the goddess of bonds, because she's in Olympus hosting mediations and bonds. In Greek mythology, Zeus is above the hill of madness, which, if you come to see it, is the heavenly earth, which is Olympus. If you get to really understand it, you would think it's crazy, of course, what's happening above in the hill. I mean, you don't need to walk that far to have a better view, but if we need to, we will. These are beautiful states to reconsider wherever you go and are within yourself, of course. We like our children to celebrate, dance, learn massage, know of the senses, study their religion, keep their Christian character traits untouched. Because without mercy and charity, I would be dead, and you wouldn't be here as well, doing what you must for it. So imagine the pulse of the source vibrating through you for all others, as heralds, as a mother and father as well, and as a friend of this orchestrated music of God. Being God, He will love you to travel throughout space and spirit yourself. Be able to imagine in unorthodox ways to create your own characters, as to experience the body of those who suffer or are tyrants and you could never understand. In virtual reality, realms of fantasy, we could exploit our narrative and that which is hidden in us to study is out there, creating more understanding. Whether you like it to be empathy or not, being able to recognize and perceive is very important. As the name of my boyfriend, maybe he's my friend, and I don't know what name to bring to our relation. But from the Quran, his name means, it's a paragraph I could read as it was written. He who has perceived and noticed wood up in the hill and brought it to bring warmth through fire, brought it down. So it is very beautiful to have that kind of companion that cares for you and is so interested to look what is out there and bring it down to you when you need it. It's funny because so many people has tried to overpower him or betray him when he's been always supportive. And well, he has showed that, well, if you don't like to appreciate my friendship, then everything would be destroyed. And it was in the law. It's hard to speak to someone when you see so much. You just want to be present and not manifest anything. I'm not really into manifestation or trying to portray anything to be understood. I'm more into moving forward and seeing other movements. To keep seeing is what a seer wishes to do. But more of a seer is a witness of this testament. So, a witness of this testament. You will love to hug this Bible and heal from everything that was given to you. I've always appreciated and thanked my Christian Catholic character traits. So when you change the narrative, this is starting to interlace into a New Testament that is the actuality for the next thousands of years. If you really get to see how the world is coming together, thanks to all these people as well, and the recognition of those who are in the other parts of the world who are also recognizing what the Christian world has done. Without this thankfulness, and only through this thankfulness, we can come together to allow this rain to shower and see our human tree, to see our history, our present and future through fantasy. Could be metaphysical energies and narratives. Could be hypnosis to understand through parallel realms of imagination we share, and through our practical and humble real world that needs care. There is joy, and there is so many good people. There are so many good people. Even the worst of them are the best to fulfill this task. So, well, that's tech oneself. And that's what God wills for us to be transparent. We like these waters to be well distributed. We need to see the world to understand how these waters are transiting. So we need to see beyond boundaries and beyond established political horizons from nations, the world as one. So I remember very well when I picked Tech Oneself because it was beyond myself, which there is also Tech Myself. Right? So and then came to the self, because beyond one you see the self of God through it all. And yes, it's very expansive to talk like that, isn't it? So there's a little note to craft So here you see the margin of society and the umbrella of homelessness, where you will find victims from prostitution or sexual abuse, drug addiction, mental illness, accidents, victims, artists, because government invests in industry and war. It does not invest in the art of human artistry and human interaction, which is an art, to pass this information and values, not just things and death to transform, which is invested for war, to create more threats in the other as an enemy. Those are doings of the evil to create fear against love and creation. As we regenerate our body every day and night, it regenerates by itself. We could pay tribute to that every day. To eat again and consume again. There are ex-convicts in the streets, also in the margins of society as marginals, travelers who just find a spiritual way of being disattached, is not considered part of any religion, but they want to go free away from society. I like to talk about that as well. From every religion and bow of poverty. That's related through Christianity, when the monks take a bow of poverty, and other religions as well, and myths, as the goddess of poverty who married the god of wisdom and gave birth to Cupid, the god of attraction and rejection, which Zeus had to become Eros in order to create the universe with its expansive power of that which is to create and repel among all the natures, each one forming itself in the universe. So, well, God is great, isn't it? That which is beyond our own knowledge and wisdom has that sense of detachment. That's why many religions have believed that to be detached from your family and society will give you this wisdom. And of course, immigration. Talking about the gray areas, yes, no, black and white, and how it's just the narrative going up and down in order to be able to put this together somehow. Am I to put it together? Is it going to that wrong way? Hey, this one. Well, I wanted to thank Candence and all the people out there. I want to thank the woman out there, Melanie, as well. I want to thank the man as well. There's been so many videos that I've been watching. Tucker Carlson. It's just there are brave men and women out there putting themselves, and people are supporting this cause, all right? So not everyone in the elite is perverted in this way, all right? Yes, no one is perfect. Yeah, some people will try to commit suicide and threaten everyone just to be someone of importance, because that's all they can do. Perfection does not exist. But people need usually to believe in these narratives. Let them. What can you do? They are people with their own natures all around the world, in your neighborhood, your neighbors. You cannot go on there dictating how should they live and love when they don't believe that love will rule the world. Yeah, we have people with so much money that they're starting to believe that if you don't have a baby inside your belly, it's better because they won't have emotions, so they can handle more money and power. So all these beliefs has to be understood. Yeah. And I am sorry, but if you had a baby and paid a surrogate to have your baby in another woman, you are very detached from reality when it comes to love and surrender. So people start to create so much to be authentic, yeah, that they go into such a disassociation to the point of not having your birth mother, a mother, yeah. This is creating a distortion in the baby inside that womb who's gonna give him away. He's being gestated already through abandonment and misunderstanding. There is no connection. So, manipulated by money. We want leaders of the world to be full of love and compassion and generosity because they can gestate the money and be there for the time when it's birth forever with their mother. Whatever is through a holy marriage, to be as one. Or to do co-parenting as a true friend. Being partners of caring for this vulnerable human being. Yeah, by using your children as marketing. Yeah. It's okay to carry a tradition and to be known, your children to be known, of course, but not to exploit them. All right. So, the royal family, they share with their children once in a while, but they're not exploited. Yeah, they might have some times to show up and they just want to play and be more inwards because that's what children need. Yeah, they need their little inward life where they are growing, just with their family, their each age after 7 with the school. Children are not with their mothers, they have to be left in a kindergarten because now women have to work. That is to be illegal. Because what is more beautiful than to be with your mother until you know how to speak and say what is what, right? Because one thing is knowing to speak and another is knowing what is what. By the age of 7 or 6 you would know that is not love, right? And that is primordial for every human being in the collective of our kind to have leaders and heralds who are clean and transparent. So if you're sharing from a field and also having from it, that is okay. But if you're sharing just to take, because what you're sharing propaganda and it's just taking, you're just a white flat ass, like all of them. Well, in my country, Venezuela, where I was born, and I'm also from Argentina. My mother's from Argentina, and my father's from Spain. So it is different on each country, even though we all speak Spanish. We don't say you are an asshole, which these words are being said in different ways. And I want to credit the comedian George Harris, who said it himself, that we're a little more like, why don't you go and wash your ass? We're more suggestive of what you should do instead of being an asshole. Yeah. So it means more like, get out of here and go and clean your ass, which is váyase a lavar ese culo. Like you're not taking that shit, but you're still being nice and responsive. Yeah. And collaborating for the person to remember what is to go and wash your ass in the private, because everyone shits. Yeah. And that is not an insult, but a collaboration of, because people used to shit in the forest or outdoors, and then we slowly, surely created tunnels of water and how to, so we still have work to be able to remodel, and we will be able to know by looking at the map of the world the ideas of the best genius, thanks to the influencers who are sharing this to the highest scores of industry, so their ideas are being supported and not stolen, like Bill Gates has stolen my work. Peace. Oh my god, that's new. All right. I sent this to Bill Gates and for the multiverse, and he created the metaverse. So he wants to steal everything for himself, right? Those old days of corruption are dead. In our agenda, we are moving forward with this year of 2025, 13th of July, here at 4:38 p.m. in Windsor. All right. So maybe I get traffic uploading this video, maybe not, for saying certain words. So, well, this is the setting here, more or less. So I was thinking which colors to put. So I like Deep Space Echo. I don't know if you can see this. It's still blurry, right? Yellow, like fluorescent yellow in the background. So in a transition, teaching what is transition between stages. And when I get paid, I will give the formula for virtual reality. Meanwhile, you're being fucked for not cleaning your ass. Alright? So, I would love to have people just telling me which jello they would like. Vivid Imagination is called. Brilliant Blooms to paint the wall. Simply Brilliant. Sunny Jane. Oh. And this one is Table for Two. So I have put because I want to paint the shelves in dark oak, but it would be varnish and matte. So not glossy varnish or the other varnish that is semi-gradient. I don't know how it's called. So I just put it this to see the shelves, right? So, but I also like the deep space echo. Of course, there's a lot of red walls with dark oak. Yeah. But I think that's more, cute to have your bedroom. I have renovated a bedroom with wooden pillars in the bed and beautiful crochet and underneath a subtle chiffon, like it was acrylic, not from silk, because it's hanging as a curtain, so for the bed, and it's just for you're not touching it, so you don't feel it's acrylic or it's silk, and it worked pretty well. Beautiful. It was majestic, because when you are in a bed like that, you can think like a king with your woman, whatever is one or many. So I think men need to relax and they need more feminine energy. So a priest needs many nuns, right? They come and go. Very few around him to learn to be a priest. Woman has created a beautiful gestalt around which what is the meaning of keeping a state of cleanliness for the guest, to keep it holy, but at the same time man need this benevolence service around that is very unconditional within himself as well, not just from the woman. Yeah. Being supportive with one another. So it takes many generations to understand this, okay? Your generation is way back, and yours, maybe it looks beautiful as it is, alright. We all have our part and chapter of this story. And we can go from micro to macro, talking about the same thing, from little to a greater explanation. It could be grandiose and magnetic to see that two people can love each other for the end of their lives and become one in the realms of God and eternity to serve others. But if you have to be forgiving all the bullshit again and again just for an act of seemingly looking perfect, so other ones want to invest in you because you are of admiration, but they don't buy it because something is not very natural. It's like staged. Because it's something about the spirit that overflows and is natural, yeah? It's that eternal love that is truth. It's coming from you through others to the beyond, yeah? So people can see that it's not about you, what you portray, yeah? So this is what you like to transmit through transcendence, yeah? It is good to give a speech and a sermon and say, "Oh, I have mistaken with my friend and I have judged him wrongly and I must forgive myself and honor him 1,000,000,000 times to not have done what I thought he was doing that to others." Maybe the word just nobody, because it was just the entity of society. But your family wishes you to be well. Society wishes you to be well. Volunteers also wish you to be well. People who work for government also wish you to be well. So I want to be here talking with ex-convicts, homeless people, and be able to collaborate with what is a chain reaction through the human coil that has been marginalized. Would it be therapeutic? I don't care. They don't care. That's how they live from others, as you do. But it's not fair, as a volunteer said this winter. Well, I like to volunteer and help people that lost their job. And that's understandable, being homeless, but this is because they were all drug addicts, alcoholics, if not both. Maybe David and some others not. They're still in recovery or wanting to have their home, yeah? Maybe in better terms, because the more they are in the streets, if they are 5 years, they can have their own apartment with a room and a living room. So it is a job to be homeless by law here for 5 years and not have a room rented by Universal Credit or other sources. So for them, it's a job to be homeless and have a free house, yeah? It is not fair because this is what they tell me. And they do have a detachment and rather be drinking under the rain in the bench of the church. And they have a good family. But maybe they want to reach other heights through toxicities because they don't know how to balance. I feel reflected with each and every one of them because I have always admired them, and at the same time I could not be like that, but I would if I didn't have children. I would create music and just be selfish, just focus on having money to pay my arts. I don't need drugs, really. I don't need drugs to feel high. So it's sort of like it is nice to feel the wine and remember the Eucharist in church. and the state of divinity when you were a child, in the highest form, when the priest would give you and you were totally given to the Lord from their speech. I thank everyone who has worked in the church and the schools to promote religion as my family. So I want to learn also more about my journey, but look, I have such talented people that I just collect their images that is nearly impossible to collect all the records. But I do have files and files of their artificial generated intelligent images with their name in X. Alright, so what I think about this is that if I make a yellow, it's like coming into the light, yeah? Coming into the light. My mother painted in yellow the penthouse in Plaza de España, Madrid, which had a view to El Palacio Real, the royal palace. We would see the royal guards exercising with their horses, and it was an honor to have that view. My mother painted in yellow all the first and second floor. And we have moved from Aravaca, which was closer to our school, where the Prince of Spain would go. My mother loved also royalty. If you have the best view, why not, right? But she wanted to put her office and her home together. And it was time for us to take a longer journey to school, because she had to take a long journey to get to the city of Madrid. On those times, that avenue had a lot of traffic. I'm going to see my mother and thank her for everything. I wish I could take care of her. I have promised to take care of her in the last days, and that she will die enlightened from all the love she has given, through the love I'm giving back on her experience through life, to have taken me to experience the spiritual world as well, not just the riches. Her unconditional love to an extent, because when you become an adult, they still want to own you. So it is hard. It is hard for parents to understand what is raising children. And they do their best, of course. Sometimes beyond their knowledge, they are doing and know why they are your parents, to guide you and tell you. That's why you were born, in that higher connection with them, to remember throughout your lifetime. So that should be a beautiful state to honor. Yet life is right here, right now. So, because someone is having an awareness that is dying through a slow illness, It is a long goodbye through years to see the deterioration, but the beautiful love and the beautiful face of your mother and posture remains the same. So it's reverence to her life all these last years, where I would have wished to care for her, and I still wish, but I could invest that money for my children, Alice and Zane, who need me as well. So I am reconsidering if to see my mother or not and just save it. There are also children in Africa, so I hope it's not a scammer. It could be talking through artificial generated intelligence and recreating something with kids that just goes to see and show pictures. I have no knowledge if it's true, the little I'm sending, but it gives me hope to reconnect with my children and continue to at least write letters, to at least think straightforward, to give them as a mother should. And if possible, to help end all these social workers and corruption that's a business who takes children from vulnerable families in the worst of the worst case scenarios you would have ever imagined exists. So you have a voice to the world and the people to tell them do never call for help to the government, because they will take them from you. They make money from it. Call me if you must, and I will give you a mansion into a village with women to take care of your children. Man need to recover and become responsible of their own. So there have been laws where they help women, so the man of welfare for many generations have in first world countries have learned to abuse women and their children with the welfare to live out of them. So these first world countries have been creating some of the worst male humans that could ever exist. So they just, in the projects of New York, is being debated. Because I had a neighbor in the upper east side of Manhattan, and she would tell me that even though everyone hated me in the building, the elevator would look at me down because I am Spanish, corporative wannabe white trash. But she was among them, maybe the only one who came close to me, because I would say hello and try to create dialogue, but she shared to me, which she was a diamond. She was a diamond in a pot of mud where pigs bath themselves out of corruption and lies. They are diamonds. You would find that truly care, at least to tell you these words. Yeah. In the projects, there are men who have children with every woman, so the women agree to give birth on welfare because they will help them if they are single mothers. They have many children with many women. Generally, these are the black men, because in Africa it's normal as well to have many women with many children. And the woman will want more children to have more time with the man. So imagine how these children grow up, right? Spanish are too proud for that. They like to work. And yes, we have our low class as well, but we're actually proud of them because you have to be very fast to get them. You have to really think as a criminal if you live with the Spanish ghetto. And I love antisocials and psychopaths. It's just they change if they have money or more education or wealth to balance. I was taught by my parents to not follow the average and the rules from an early age, from the year. When I think I was 13 years old to break some rules. I was starting to hear different, maybe not before when I was 12 or 11 to, you know, that I was pushed to not follow others and say what was right for me. I was taught and trained in my house for that, with the teachers and with everyone. And to respect the law, to not do unto others what I wouldn't wish that will be done to me, with the golden law that exists through all the cultures. I really want to thank all those who were in the realms of justice, the Committee of the Government of the United States, I will always wish peace for United States of America to make a change, get it to universal understanding, and for that they will be able to redirect their past to their future by cleaning their own house. Yeah, it doesn't mean that all those in the elite are the same, since this abuse and corruption has existed not only in the elite but in every level of society. Yeah. So it's very easy for people to outrage because they feel abused. They were abused by their parents and now they are exhorting into some kids who were abused by higher sources of power and belief. So we are transforming the narrative in saying they are not all the same, and we wish for our generation to take care of this power for freedom of expression and what is right in a more pleasant manner, understanding that those who remain pure, I mean, you can sin and have accidents and be mistaken, or love another person because you're married. It doesn't mean that you are betraying anyone. That's not universal love. Universal love is the highest form of love that can transit through reference to a higher power. That is the word, can be translated. So we'll have these years to establish what is power, how power is being used, how power and movement is being transmitted, and metals, tools, understandings, universally shared. Not everyone is going to be able to travel to space. So some knowledge has to be not hidden but understood. It can be dangerous if you share it, because people will want to take it, yeah, and destroy it so that you can use it. Naturally, you have seen this happen again and again and again to carry the word, have some order. But without devotion, how can you surrender to higher powers? How would you remember? You will honor someone that's never giving its power away. You will always honor that, because it's his truth, his power. He has never surrendered to any belief. Because of his power. So, well, this is Tech Oneself. I hope to upload this video, and once again, thank you to all those as a form of prayer to leaders in the world, influencers. This is a form of prayer that I wish that it lasts for the eternities. So I will be speaking in first person in the present time as that which has had happened and what we are doing that remains throughout creation. In the same way, anyone can start from scratch in the universal flow. Bye bye, and see you in this next transition. Bye.